The Millionaire director mocked the cleaning lady but sud. The elevator doors slid open with a soft ding on the 45th floor of Wexler Studios, and Maria Alvarez, mop in hand and eyes heavy from a double shift, stepped into the gleaming marble hallway. It was just past midnight, and while the rest of New York slept, Maria worked her way through silence and fluorescent light, scrubbing away the footprints of the elite. She was invisible to most, just a uniform and a name tag, but tonight, everything would change. In the executive suite, Julian Hartley, Millionaire director and celebrated creative genius, leaned over a conference table surrounded by his team. Tomorrow was the pitch of a lifetime, a groundbreaking international film partnership. Investors from Japan were flying in, and the presentation had to be flawless. Yet Julian, notorious for his short temper and towering ego, was on edge. "No, no, no," he barked, swiping away a stack of printed slides. "The Japanese dialogue in this draft is completely wrong. I said I wanted authenticity, not a Google Translate joke." His assistant scrambled, murmuring apologies. No one spoke Japanese fluently enough to make corrections. Time was slipping away. That's when Maria entered, quietly wiping the glass walls at the far end of the room. Her mop squeaked softly on the floor, and Julian, irritated, glanced up. "Can someone shut the door?" "And who let the janitorial staff in here during a pitch review?" he snapped. Maria froze for a moment, then stepped back toward the exit. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt." Julian, exasperated, waved her off but then paused, squinting at her ID badge. "Alvarez? That's Spanish, right?" "Figures." He turned back to his team. "If she were so smart, maybe she could translate this mess for us." A few in the room chuckled nervously. Maria flushed, her fingers tightening around the mop handle. But instead of leaving, she took a breath and turned around. "Actually," she said quietly, "I can help." Julian raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" "I speak Japanese," she said, more firmly this time. "Fluently." The room went still. "You're a cleaning lady," Julian said, blinking. "You expect me to believe you speak fluent Japanese?" Maria set down the mop, walked over to the screen, and gently took the printed script from the assistant. "My mother was Japanese. My father, Mexican. I studied linguistics before things changed." Julian folded his arms. "If you're so smart, then translate it." Maria didn't flinch. She began speaking, her voice smooth and precise, translating the script line by line, even correcting grammatical subtleties and idiomatic expressions only a native speaker would know. The room watched in stunned silence as the supposed nobody revealed herself to be a woman of immense depth, intelligence, and grace. Julian, speechless for the first time in years, sat back slowly. "Where did you learn that?" "Tokyo University," she said simply. "Full scholarship. But I had to drop out when my mother was diagnosed with cancer. Came to New York to care for her. Cleaning paid the bills." No one spoke. Julian's jaw worked slightly as if trying to form a response, but nothing came out. Then he stood. I owe you an apology," he said, his voice lower, lacking its usual bravado. "Anne. I think we owe you a seat at the table." That night, Maria didn't just help polish a script. She restructured the entire pitch. She offered cultural insight, recommended nuanced dialogue, and even suggested ways to respectfully depict Japanese traditions on screen. By 3 a.m., Julian had pulled up an extra chair for her, not as a cleaner, but as a consultant. The next day, the Japanese investors were beyond impressed. Not just by the polished script, but by Maria herself, who now sat beside Julian during the pitch. Her presence spoke volumes about humility, inclusion, and the unseen potential in every human soul. The deal went through, one of the biggest in Wexler Studios' history. In the following weeks, Julian couldn't stop thinking about Maria's story. It haunted him, the brilliance buried under years of struggle, the sacrifices she made, the injustice of it all. He began to question the system he thrived in. How many Mariahs had he overlooked? So, he made a choice. He created a new initiative within Wexler Studios, a scholarship and training program for underrepresented workers within the company. Cleaners, kitchen staff, receptionists, anyone with talent, passion, or untold stories, would have the chance to be mentored, educated, and elevated. And Maria? She became the program's first director of cultural and linguistic integrity. Her desk sat across from Julian's. Not behind him. Not beneath him. But beside him. One afternoon, months later, Maria sat in her new office when she heard a knock. It was Rosa, another cleaner she'd known for years. "I heard what you did," Rosa said softly. "They say you changed everything." Maria smiled, gesturing for her to sit. "I didn't change everything," she said. "I just reminded them to look again. People see uniforms, titles, but they don't see hearts. Brains. Stories." Rosa wiped a tear from her cheek. "You made them see us." Maria reached across the table and held her hand. "And now, it's your turn. Sometimes, the most extraordinary people wear the humblest clothes. Sometimes, the heroes of our stories are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to ask, to listen, to see. Because everyone has something to offer, something beautiful, powerful, and profoundly human. And when we finally look past status or stereotypes, we find that true greatness lives in unexpected places. So, the next time you pass someone you think you already understand, stop. Ask. Listen. Because greatness doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes, it carries a mop. And if you're really smart, you'll never underestimate kindness, resilience, or the quiet brilliance of the person cleaning the floor while the rest of the world looks away.